Good morning, everyone. Filial piety, chapter 4, part 3. This dude has got a lot of filial piety towards sticks. Okay, we're going to talk about loyalty today. Loyalty, what does that mean in filial piety? 100% surrender. No. There's the rest of the crew. Come on, where are you going? I'm going to the barn, guys. Anybody coming? You gonna come to the barn? Who's coming? One's moving. Maddie, always faithful. Maddie, most loyal, absolutely loyal companion you could have. She sat with me when I lost a friend, and it was a very difficult time for me, though also a very, very inspiring time. Learned so much about spirit world and the continuation of life after death. And she stood, ouch, ow, Jake, get that stick, get the stick. Thank you, out of my way. And she could find me anywhere. When I went for solitude, and she'd just sit right there. Never bothered me. Never wanted to be petted or licked. She just sat about 2 feet away from me the whole time. And that's how she got that white face. She turned gray. She wasn't quite as gray. That was a few years ago now. But immediately her face started to turn white. Huh? Interesting? Yes. The balance between the principles of creation and the principles of love. Some people think that God just created all this for us to use, to snap, but the healing that actually comes from a lot of what He created on the first 5 days in animals, in plants, then for us later to have give and take with is it's pretty phenomenal. It's so phenomenal. And it can't be explained in any other way than, okay, yeah, you gotta go over there, Jake. Such a cool dog. We again had some people come over, and I had to tell one guy, you gotta get back in the car. I don't know what's going on, but just let me secure the dogs first. Nice guy though. I don't know what the problem was. Anyway, so I about 5 years ago, I got distorted. Turn that around. Where's my bucket? Oh. Yeah. So that's sometimes how things go too. My thought was, oh, this is about the time it's cooling down. I'm gonna let the horses out during the day now and up at night, and they're going, yeah, why? Why? And they were caught. One of them was caught down the road. Yeah, okay, so I'm going all right. And one of the things is that even though it is September, it's cooling down, this snap, it isn't time for hay yet. So, but there isn't as much out there. It takes longer to grow, whatever there is, and so they go and look for greener pastures. Well, at night, the grass, everything that they still eat, is moist, becomes moist. It has moisture in it, which is heavier on their system. During the day, it's just dry stuff just about out there for them. Anyway, so they wander farther and stay out longer. So I'm going, no, I can't have them go down the road, please. So one thing yesterday was, okay, they didn't show up and they didn't show up. Then I got a call from my sis-in-law and she says, there's fresh horse poop outside of the gate. I'm going, no. And they hadn't come back all day yet. I'm going, no. And I thought, okay, do you want me to go and look? And I said, okay. So it was about 4 o'clock. And she went down the other side. She'd come up one side, went down the other side, comes back, no horses. I'm going, oh, okay. Then she says, oh, but, yesterday, remember one of them kind of didn't show up right away, which was Maverick. And she said that a neighbor down the road said, yeah, I think I saw one of your horses down here, And, but the other ones were all here. So the poop could have been from yesterday, the day before yesterday. Now, and what a long-winded story, but it will make sense later. So, sure enough, they showed up. In the morning. Let's see, they showed up, and yesterday morning, after I got the call, when Sissy had left for work, and I'm going, no, do I have to go out there and start looking for them, or, do I just, I'm going, you know what? My loyalty to God and spirit world is great enough, good enough, great enough, should be. I'm going to trust them to bring those horses back, and I'm not going to get the call from down the road. Sure enough, and I went back to doing what I was doing, and sure enough, here they come about an hour later, and I just put them all up. Then I rethought the whole thing. I'm going, okay, they're not ready for daytime yet. This isn't, because they need to I've got to have hay out there for them at the same time, so that they're not going to wander off too far to keep looking for things that are looking better on the other side of the fence. If they have enough, then that's no problem. But again, they're used to a certain quantity, and they're not getting it, so they wander farther than they should. Anywho, interesting? I know, right? So, I could just, when you work with the principles of creation, you have to adjust. You just adjust, and that is it. So, I'm going to use one of my own examples. About 5 years ago now, I walked up into the loft here on my ladder, and I came back down, and one of my legs just fell away. Poof. It was a searing pain for a moment, and and then it kind of travels through your body, and then you're just kind of okay, and I'm used to pain, so it's one of those things. And then, I don't react to pain per se. Okay. So, but I noticed my leg just fell away. Then it was very difficult to walk. And over the next so many weeks, it became more and more apparent that something happened. So I went to, and of course the pain didn't just, I suddenly had a searing pain, suddenly this and that. I mean, it got to the point where it was very difficult to get around. So I read up on it, this and that, and I thought, I've had a hernia repair. It could be the mesh that they put in there that's starting after 30 years now, just about, is starting to create some problems. So I made, actually after, I don't know the last time I'd gone to the doctor, I made an appointment. And, because I thought, if there's something in there that's creating and my leg swelled up, had been swelled up. If there's something in there where there's an infection that no matter what I'm going to do, because a foreign matter is still in there, then I've got to get that checked out. I'm not dumb about things like that, okay? That I just go ahead and don't do anything. So I went first to the one, and had to go first to a family practitioner. Then that referred me to someone else. So, well, I have animals to take care of, morning and night. And I don't have the time to spend hours and hours and hours sitting in a chair at the doctor's office. I just don't. So when I called the family practitioner, I said, look, I said, get me the earliest possible appointment in the morning. I've got to get in and out so I can go and take care of our animals. Okay, well, they took that under consideration. It's great. Got there, waited for 15 minutes, filled out all the paperwork, boop, was in, and boop, was back out. Yeah. Oh, referral. Yeah, okay, so you can't do anything? You can't? No? Oh, okay, all right. All right, so it's a weird one. Growing up as a kid, I went to the doctor, and he would, this Nat had really, Dr. Gamsh. Dr. Gamsh we had. I love that guy. I went to school with one of his daughters too, the youngest one, Martina. We sat next to each other. Oh, my little stories about that too. Anyway, so that brings back memories, Dr. Gamsh. And you went there and you sat. Dear me, how old was I? 14, 13, or 12, 13? Something like that, and I got my finger caught in a big old glass door, and someone pushing from the other end, it flattened this middle finger here, which I never use for what other people do. It wouldn't occur to me because it got saved. It got saved. And I didn't do any. I just went home, and my mom looked at it and said, oh, that doesn't look good. And then the next day she said, oh, that does not look good. I think you need to go and... I went by myself. You didn't have to go with anybody. Yeah, I just went there, and I just went there by myself, sat there, and I went in, and he said, oh, he says, and he checked this stuff. He says, you broke that in 3 different places. I'm going, I did? He says, how did you stand the pain? How did you stand the pain for the last 3 days? I said, it was painful, but it's not that bad. Anyway, so he says, well, you know what? I hate to tell you this, but I'm going to try and write this finger and splint it, but I'm going to be honest with you. Most likely you'll never be able to use that finger again to bend it. No, okay. Well, all right, what do you do when you're that age? You're going, okay. I mean, it's kind of like it went in one ear and out the other. Well, he splinted, and no anesthesia or anything. He just tuck, and going, and then it was done. Splinted it. I never got a cast for it. He just splinted it and says, come back in 3 weeks. I did. It was just before Christmas. He took it off. He says, can you bend it? I went, this is the finger. I went, yeah. Oh. He says, whoa. Merry Christmas. Why don't we still have doctors like that? Oh, but he should not have told you. You know what? Honesty can go a long way. And then, well, anyway, you got to be able to trust your doctor. I trusted that doctor 100%. Anyway, after that, so I got referred for my leg to this other guy. I go there, same. I said, they made the appointment for me. I said, look, I said, it's got to be between so-and-so time because I had to travel about an hour. And then I said, and I have to be back at so-and-so time to take care of the animals, and otherwise I'm not going. Okay, they took that into consideration, no problem. Went there, took my sis-in-law with me, went there, got in within, again, 20 minutes, I was in there. The guy comes in, poke around. He said, oh, you got a tore muscle. Really, I do? How do you know? It's not the mesh. Okay, all right. So what do I do? Well, you can't lift anything. Now think, I've already had this injury for months, okay? Months I've already had this injury. Well, and I had a lot of help already in the meantime here. He said, okay, he says 3 to 6 weeks. 3 to 6 weeks. Okay, that's 3 to 6 weeks. 3 weeks and 6 weeks, big difference, but okay. Don't carry anything more than 5 pounds. My knee just popped. Oh, okay. I can do that. I have plenty of help. I had a young dude here with me from Switzerland. Rest in peace. I'm not going to say anything else. And so I could actually, I did not just for 6 weeks. I went on for 3 months, 6 months. I was able to do very little when it came to lifting anything. Did it do any good? No. So, well, after that, over 3 winters, you get to the point when you live on a farm like this, you can't not lift, okay? So I found other ways to, I'm going, okay, this must be something different than a torn muscle. Well, it turns out that it was actually a torn ligament, completely torn. And there is, unless you go in for surgery, even then, not much chance of, and then of course, you know, I'm one of those who doesn't have millions, where you can just go and get the best doctors, and then they, whatever, okay? So, over the 3 winters, as I sat there, I also got into menopause at the same time, and I started to gain weight. And I noticed that somehow things suddenly got better. First, that searing pain disappeared. Then certain other things started happening. I couldn't lift my leg anymore. I mean, I couldn't. I had to, anytime I got into a car, I had to actually help it along, and it was painful. Then, on top of that, I also tore something in my knee out of the blue, just walking. Okay. Well, there's a little bit more, you know, but what I want to get to that is I gained the weight and I walk better than I did 3 years ago when I was a lot skinnier. Yeah. And now I feel better than I ever have. I went through pain every day and every night for at least 4.5 years. Every day. And difficult to sleep. I would have to move from my bed to the chair to the whatever to just get a few hours of comfortable sleep. No, I don't take painkillers. I don't. I can't. That knocks me out, and I don't like to be knocked out. And there has been times where at least one of my children tried to wake me up, and they couldn't because I'd taken some ibuprofen or an Excedrin or something for a head. They couldn't wake me up. So I'm going, okay, obviously I don't need that. That's bad for me. So I just went with it. And I've explained that in another video, how I went with it, and how the pain became worthy and absolutely doable. I often adopted children out in the world that were abused. The pain that they were going through, that they would get some relief through the pain that I offered up to Spirit World, so the Spirit World could use that. Yes? Okay. So that's how I made it through it. Now I gained about 60 pounds, at least. And I feel I have no pain. There's no pain. It depends sometimes on how I walk, but otherwise, just standing here right now, feels great. So, Well, now I could start working on losing some of that weight. I'm going, yeah, but I got the weight for a reason now. I mean, nothing got, I don't know. Are things fixed now in my legs, my hips, this and that? I don't think so. The muscles, when you lose ligament strength, if you tear ligaments and then have on top of that really loose ligaments, which I was told in physical therapy one time years and years ago for my back, then they don't. That's just what you got. And then the muscles take over. The muscles carry a lot of the work that the ligaments should be doing. But then they wear out, right? Yes. Okay, so that's mine. I believe that in the way that I'm doing right now, being able to do all this work here, no problem, that without pain, going back to the house, I'm good, and I can continue working what I need to do. I believe it's the fat. I'm not kidding. I know that's going to sound so. What am I going to do so that I look better? I don't know. Do I look worse? I'm going to lose something that's actually helping my body. That is in the condition that it is in for one reason or another. To me, that is when you're loyal, when your filial piety is just to God, when you're loyal to God, regardless, then healing happens, sometimes in an odd way, as I just explained. So loyalty. I'd like to say another story. I know a guy, a close friend of the family, and he wasn't with his wife anymore, but they had a daughter. And wait. Yes, they had a daughter, and both the father and the mother were heavily relying on drugs. Always had been, always did. The friend ended up passing away in a cornfield in San Diego on an overdose. Well, that's just, he was good at hiding it. He was already 45 years old. He was good at hiding it. I don't know. So, he had a daughter named Angelina. And when she was really young, 6, 7, 8 years old, she started taking care of her parents. Did the house chores, went to school, did the house chores, cooked, went grocery shopping, this and that, because both of her parents were too out of it to do anything to take care of this child. And that child just went and did what needed to be done. All until she grew up, this and that. As far as I know, her relationship with her parents wasn't bad at all. She turned out to be absolutely wonderful, she stayed, and continued to grow to become an absolutely exceptional human being. Her filial piety shows itself in, she just took, first of all, probably didn't know anything different for a long time until she kind of realized, other kids don't grow up like this. She just took responsibility. She was absolutely filial and loyal to her parents, even though you would think, Anywho, interesting story. So, all the whining out there, it doesn't cut it when you have known someone like that. So, well, not everybody. Well, that just depends on you. Some people are just out for profit. That is that. And, sadly, it reflects back on your life then. It is very important as parents to foster loyalty in a child. the one thing that you teach a child, loyalty, and then that carries over to filial piety, besides making sure that their number one filial piety is to God, is filial piety per se a keeper and a user, but never an abuser of the principles of creation. The amount of animal cruelty done by children is incredible out there. It's frightening. Okay? And it's chalked up to, well, they're not old enough. Well, they're not this, they're not that. Yeah, okay. All right. Well then, what is that? Well, there's one thing with the principles of creation, with animals, with plants. Children don't know what that is. They don't know what that is anymore. And when they're left to their own devices and they're not being taught what that is and how you treat it, well then guess what? They're going to come up with their own ideas about it. Yeah. You see? Yeah. There comes in filial piety towards God and the principles of creation. So we teach our children loyalty to what God gave us to take care of. And for a child, that is very important to know that you do not trample on a plant unless it is something in cushioning, grass, this, that. Well, someone said, okay, well, yeah. But if it's something that you're growing and a child just goes in and starts to pull, or you have a plant at home and they just start pulling things, hey, wait. Let me show you, right? And here again, instead of yelling at the child that they did something wrong, right? Because they don't know that. They're just, oh, what is this? And they're exploring it by tearing it apart. So you show them, oh, wait a minute, that hurts the plant. That hurts this. Know what the plant's name is and give it a name. For a child, that means something. And then show it how it needs to be watered, how you pet it, and how you talk to it. You see? Same with a child, right? Tail pulling. Oh, my kids do that? Oh. Oh, let's see, there's that ear. How does that feel? That's just what you did to that poor dog. And here's the thing. They can't respond back to you except for biting. And then who gets blamed? So, again, all right. We've got to make sure we teach our children loyalty when it comes to filial piety as well. Oh, well, that's included. No, it's not. You have to teach. The other thing, too, that when you get an animal and there's so many adults out there so finicky about things like this. Make sure that you have the right environment for the animal that you're getting. Number one, know that the puppy stage isn't going to stay like that. You teach your children loyalty towards you when they see you being loyal to something else, like a plant, like an animal. If you just get an animal, then they get attached to it in a certain, and then you just get rid of it because you don't want it anymore, this and that, or it's just too complicated, too difficult. What are you teaching your children? Abandoning things, life things that move around, bark, hop, crow, whatever. You're teaching your children it's okay to abandon the principles of creation. You're telling them that's okay. When you throw food out, the same thing. Okay? Food, okay, at a certain point, children know where that comes from. Yet you allow them, instead of just giving them teeny tiny portions on their plate, they can always have more. You're giving them so much that they can't eat it. First of all, too, children are it's very interesting. Most children like everything separate. They don't like things mixed up. Because again, they're exploring what? They're exploring a part of the principles of creation that when it's all mixed up, they can't. Why do you think so many people, so many children like McDonald's food? Because it all comes separate. Ever notice that? There's nothing mixed up. All comes separate. So remember that as parents, right? Small, teeny tiny portions, because what you're doing is you're teaching them that it is okay to waste and abandon something out there, a plant, that a seed started with growing, right? And blooming and producing something that we can eat. And sometimes it takes months to do that. And then the plant's ready to give back, to nourish us, including with an animal, to nourish us. And then we're wasting half of it. What kind of loyalty is that towards what was given to you to actually survive on this earth? I'll give you one more example, then I'm done with it. So, I see a lot of climate change, this and that, climate change, and then it gets, okay, so here it is. And I've said this before as well in many of the videos that I actually just deleted and said, people need to start learning about this on their own, or get your head straight on. Filial piety towards, loyalty towards God and the principles of creation. Why don't you start in your own home? Stop using all these really, really detrimental chemicals. There's plenty of good stuff out there. Bleach, for example, is one. It's biodegradable and it just evaporates into the air. It's not if you use it in small, and it's very effective, this and that, okay? Vinegar is another one. Some soaps are another one. There is plenty of stuff out there that you can use to clean your home and just eliminate some of this really bad stuff. And use, if you do have to, you can't, laundry detergent, same thing. Just think how much laundry everyone does in just this country. And where is it going? Yeah, you want to talk to me about climate change out there? And the bees disappearing, and this disappearing, and then I don't know, and then we're going to blame whom on that? Wants over needs. But it should be, if you're loyal to the principles of creation out there, if you have nothing to say and go, well, I'm not going to live long enough, let it all go to hell, what do I care? Well, fine. Yeah. But if you are someone out there that has a big mouth about climate change, oh yeah, this, that, and I don't know what, but saving animals out there before unborn children, no doubt, yeah, and all kinds of other stuff, that's not loyalty to the principles of creation. You start in your own home to start with. And the number one thing that you try to save before anything else on this planet is the number one thing, absolutely most important to God. And that is a child, an unborn child, above anything else out there. Just saying. Loyalty. People have sometimes an odd way to show filial piety towards their parents, and loyalty on God, and loyalty, right, to the principles of creation, things that are going wrong out there, supposedly, and then who's to blame and who needs to be in this and that. It's very odd. It's really going in the wrong direction there too. But what did I say about this child who had two parents on drugs? Most likely both of them dead now. She most likely has a wonderful, beautiful family. No drugs, no this, no that. That child's life was blessed with so much merit, taking care of her absolutely irresponsible and whatever parents, selfish parents. And this child was completely selfless in that whole picture. No, you're probably never going to see her on the news or in a book or this or that. This is one of those hidden gems of a child. It is amazing on how loyal children can be to their parents, even though they're abused. Their filial piety towards their abusive parents, this and that, is incredible. If there's more than one, they kind of group together and they face these parents together. When a child gets adopted, abandoned, they still later in life, though there's nothing wrong with that, they want to know who abandoned me, more or less. They just want to know, where did I come from? Sometimes that's difficult for adoptive parents, but it's a very natural thing. When you have a child, an adopted child, who starts to suddenly wonder about that, then you know you done good as a parent. You taught that child loyalty and filial piety, and it is important to support them in that. That makes sense? Yeah, I know. Loyalty. There's very little of that to be had these days, I think. People just don't know anymore what that is. Yeah. I just don't think they know what that is anymore. But it doesn't mean we can't keep exploring, kind of get back another part of restoration. But it also absolutely has to do with filial piety. Children's love for the parents, regardless, no matter what. And sadly, when that is not present in any form in the child, for one reason or another, one could get into that, we're not going to do that, then a beast is raised. It's incredible that it is very rare that one of the beasts in our society is raised or turned out that way when it is raised with parental love under the guidance of God and taught filial piety and loyalty. It's very clear on how these beasts are raised, how they end up being beasts like that, where none of the commandments matter. Every one of them is broken. And that's something that we need to restore, all of us. We're all part of that. Every one of us. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. But that's what it is. And that's how we stay loyal to God. To never abandon Him. His loyalty towards all of us, even the beasts. Got to love your enemies, it says. But I think there too, in a way, we do not need to be loyal to our enemies. Loving your enemy, what I found a really great thing, I just saw, look in the mirror and you find your number one worst enemy. And it's true. in order to be able to help restore anything out there, we've got to know where we stand with our filial piety towards God, towards our parents, towards the people in guiding, who are guiding us through their teachings, through their commitments towards us from little on, this, that. And sometimes that's not the parents. I get that too. But remember, influence and guidance is something different. You know when someone guides you on a good path. You know when someone gets you going in the right direction. You know that. And otherwise, take a look in the mirror. Who's your worst nightmare? Who's your worst enemy? Often, most of the time, it's ourselves. I am my worst enemy. Yeah. So, there you go. But filial piety to God, loyalty to God, and no one else. No one else. Then, when that is secure, you rebuild your filial piety with your parents, with other people around you, the loyalty with other people around you. And suddenly you become a teacher and such. Then you become a son and daughter of God. When you reach higher, when you start to continue, and your spirit grows, suddenly you become a true daughter and a true son of God. And then you become a Messiah, a savior of the people, just like Jesus taught us, just like true parents are teaching us. And then suddenly you become a tribal Messiah. Yeah. Filial piety and loyalty. Yeah. Leads to great happiness. It really does. All right. Well, that's what I wanted to share today. I got to finish up here. There's nobody here yet. I got out here early. Just cleaning the barn. But I'm about done here. Oh, there's one of our chickens. I just love pictures like that. Hi, girl. She says, okay, are you going to come feed us? Oh, I'm going to get ready. Oh, there's little Larry. He's still with us. Ah, so beautiful here. Chicks. Oh, look, you guys. They're my Jerusalem artichokes, sunchokes. They're all coming up now. So beautiful, isn't it? September, I still have flowers blooming. Woo! God's love and blessings always. Now we'll talk to y'all another time.